Mental macros. Just like protein, carbs, and fats shape your body, the information you consume shapes your mind. Feed it consciously. What do you do when you're supposed to lose some fat and put on some muscle? Most people say dieting, which is just a temporary phase of making yourself miserable, eating like a peasant, followed by a phase of binge eating where you gain 5 kilos for every 3 you've lost. People who've managed to adopt a healthy lifestyle would say that they've managed to make the whole process more sustainable. It begins with eating clean, which is vague at best. It's this ambiguity that leads even the most motivated dieters to get lost in the eat a whole pizza in one sitting jungle. A well-meaning health enthusiast could be eating only plain home-cooked food in an attempt to eat clean and lose some weight, but because they lack information, they wouldn't be aware of all the hidden calories they're consuming in the form of seed oils and thick gravies. You see where I'm going with this. Their intentions are in the right place, but it's their misconceptions about what they're actually consuming that's keeping them from achieving their fitness goals. They're unaware of the damage their ignorance is causing, which no amount of power walking will be able to overcome. Counting calories. What's the method that actually works? Becoming hyper mindful of what you're eating. Counting calories is a great example of this. You must have seen people on social media weighing out their food on scales and measuring the quantity that they're consuming at any given time. Some would even consider this to be a little anal, but this is necessary to become mindful of what you're consuming, at least in the beginning. And it works. It's a simple math equation, really. If you eat in a calorie deficit, which means you burn more calories than you consume, then you lose fat. And if you eat in a calorie surplus while making sure you're eating enough protein, you'll gain muscle as long as you go into the gym. The first stage is about counting calories, and once you get hooked, the next step leads to improving the quality of what you're eating. Organic whole foods, cutting out processed stuff, avoiding seed oils, stuff like that. The first is a quantitative change. The second's more qualitative. The parallels between food and digital consumption. Food isn't inherently good or bad. Optimizing what you eat and when you eat it is so powerful that it can completely transform you as a person. In the same vein, social media gets such a bad rap, with everyone and their perverted math tutor blaming it for ruining a whole generation of people and their Candy Crush playing grandmas. If you take a step back from your doom scrolling, however, you realize that social media is the most powerful, educational, and self-transformational tool on the planet. Nature of consumption. In the last video I made, I talked about creation being the holy grail and consumption pretty much as licking Satan's unwashed. There's a caveat to that though. It's only the mindless consumption of brain-rotting crap that can be likened to the lowest rung of hell. Reelathons, where you're losing your sense of self, scrolling through bullshit memes and anti-grey matter content, are the food equivalent of guzzling a blend of refined oil, sugar, and corn flour, till the point you need to get your stomach pumped. Just as your food choices have an impact on your physical being, the things that you consume mentally have an impact on your mental well-being. Frankly, it's embarrassing how mentally plump most people are these days, with attention spans worse than goldfish and the inability to focus on any one task for a significant amount of time. All because they're handing out free candies and sodas on the virtual playground. You need to start eating clean in the virtual space as well. And just like saying that you're going to eat clean leads to vague results in your physical goals, saying that you're going to limit your screen time does absolutely nothing tangible for your growth. You need to realize how powerful platforms like Instagram and YouTube are only if you start consuming consciously. They have all the resources you need to make yourself cognitively jacked. Step 1. Curate your digital feed. How do you do that? If you can do this to your existing Instagram account, then great. But if you're apprehensive about hurting the people you know, then I'd suggest creating a second private account that no one has access to. The first step is unfollowing all useless content, including memes, stoner, drunk activity pages, as well as any stand-up comedians and creators in the comedy/dumbfuckery space. Also unfollow people who provide no tangible value to your life and flood your feed with stupid shit. Purge it all out. It's for your own good. If you find yourself hesitating with this, just create a fresh account and go from there. Limit activity on the first account. Step 2. Immerse yourself in learning. Now that you have a fresh account with no baggage, pick something that you want to learn more of or get proficient at. Let's say you want to learn more about the world of personal finance and where to invest the money you're saving from not drinking shit-tasting, overpriced cups of commercialized coffee. Go to ChatGPT and ask it to give you a list of the 50 most influential creators in the finance space. Put in specifications if you want to learn about any specific niche within the broader topic, and follow all 50 creators. For the next few weeks, the only content you're consuming is about personal finance. This will give you a broad understanding of the topic, and you can dive deeper into the things that interest you by consuming long-form content on YouTube, which will help fill in the gaps. After you feel like you have a basic grasp of the subject, unfollow all but the 5 creators who gave you the most value. Then move on to the next topic. Follow the same process and keep purging after you're done. This is the counting calories version of consuming content. And like counting calories, this too is a simplified equation. If you cut out the brain-rotting crap, and if you only consume content that will enrich your life, your experience of life can only get better. Become mentally jacked. People try to limit their screen times, but can't sustain that behavior beyond a certain point. This is because they're entirely dependent on the power of their will, which in itself is in short supply due to, you guessed it, attention retardation caused by mindless consumption. It's a vicious cycle, really. Instead of deleting the app, which is the dieting version of starving yourself, choose what you're consuming and immerse yourself in a consciously curated feed that acts as psychological nutrition. We live in the information age, with a virtual library 5 billion times the size of the Library of Alexandria in our pockets. There has never been a better time to be alive. With the slow but sure democratization of resources through the internet, you can completely change the trajectory of your life only if you start living and consuming consciously. So for the love of God, quit stalking those Instagram models and start counting your mental macros to become unrecognizable. If you're ready to reclaim your focus, master your mind, and access flow states at will, then hit subscribe. Begin consuming consciously by checking out my last video. And I'll see you in the next one.